Yeah, 2-year-olds are terrifying.
The problem is they just get stronger, though, from there.
Yeah.
I've always thought, like, I think I've always likened, like, having a cat to having a very fast baby that will never mature.
Now I'm just imagining a baby, like, instead of crawling around, sprinting around on all fours like a cat.
Yeah, he does. For a 2-year-old,
Bounding up
like,
to the top of a fridge.
for a 2-year-old, it's like you take your eye off him for a second and he's gone.
You gotta keep your eye on him.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You know, you don't want to fail that Radiant quest line, you know, it's just constantly like, hey, another 2-year-old needs your help.
Right,
No, well, it's more like another citizen needs your help, like a 2-year-old is attacking.
Another citizen needs your help. A 2-year-old is attacking.
Wait, is that what Death Stranding is? No one's seen a baby in years, and someone appears in town, you just have to go pick it up and take it out of town?
It's not even that far from what it is. Alright, well, everyone look around, because we are already inside the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hey, nice.
We've been here for weeks.
It looks just like my house, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a perfect one-to-one recreation that I did in the PS4 game Dreams. It is absolutely unrecognizable from real life. But everyone, welcome to GameBusters episode 3. This is a podcast from GameLuster.com, and I am your host, Nirav Gandhi, and these are my co-hosts. Now you say your names.
Oh, hi, I'm Hightower, aka Luke from GameLuster.
Hi, Rhi/Rhiannon from GameLuster 2.
And I'm not sure if I count as a host, but I'm Johnny from Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny, he's from Life. He's our special guest.
He's the only one here with a life.
Not for long. Medical school.
Yeah, he's starting medical
month.
school.
Fair enough. My condolences.
Thank you.
Hey, I was just talking to my cousin who is in medical school. She's been for a year, and I was like, "Oh, like, are you still doing like medical things? Like, how is that working?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm doing like online rotations." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" I was like, "How do you get the scalpel to people? I don't understand."
It's a very long stick that we tape it to the end of, and you're just kind of reaching from another room.
I've seen this.
It's all very involved.
I've seen this thing about doctors like remotely using like a robot to do surgery. Is that what it is?
That is actually some really cool stuff that they do for surgery. I've actually tested some of that before, where it's basically what it is. It's a robot that only responds to subtle movement controls. So if you accidentally jerk it or something, it just won't move.
I want to actually recommend that no surgeons jerk it during surgery. It probably would not be good.
Did you ever see the Michael Reeves video where he made a surgery machine?
No, I did not.
I will send you that afterwards. It's insane.
Okay. Cool. Well, anyway, let's get started here. So, we're gonna do a quick little round of what are you guys playing right now, video game wise? So, Johnny, why don't you kick us off?
Well, like I said, I'm starting medical school soon, so I'm moving a lot of my stuff. So I already moved all of my games into my new apartment, but not my PS4. And so all I've been able to play recently is the NBA 2K20 that I have downloaded on there. So that's been fun, you know, with no sports to speak of going on right now. It's like, I have my own imaginary sports where my favorite team always wins.
It's fun to pretend. Alright, Luke, what you been doing?
I've been getting back into Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, nice.
Big MMO, and they recently just announced they're expanding the free-to-play section of it, and it's going to have an absurd amount of content. It's going to include the first expansion, Heavensward. You'll be able to play up to level 60. It's just nuts how much free stuff you'll have. I think it's in August.
That's pretty cool.
They're making that change.
This is like no shit. I genuinely downloaded Final Fantasy 14 maybe last year or something, and I waited 4 hours for it to finish, and then I opened it up and I walked out, and then I was like, oh my god, I forgot there'd be other people in here, and I immediately uninstalled it.
Nice.
You get cyber anxiety.
Yeah, I was like, oh god. I'm not an MMO person. Rhi, what you up to?
God, I think this is what I said last week, but I'm on Final Fantasy VII still. I've just gotten to the 3rd disc, and oh my god, it's so impressive that I got this far, really sucking at the game. Very proud of myself.
Getting
Getting my ass handed to me. very thoroughly, so that's fun.
Oh.
A lot of I guess weebs on the chat today. And I
absolutely.
including me because I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, pretending to be a samurai.
As I just reached level 50, one of the class options in Final Fantasy XIV is samurai.
Okay, you don't even have to buy Ghost of Tsushima anymore.
Yeah, it's basically the same
it's
game,
already
right?
in there.
I mean, does Sephiroth count as a samurai? Am I playing a samurai game too?
I mean, he has a massive katana, so
Everybody does in Final Fantasy. Like, okay,
Sword isn't bigger than your
Totally
body.
I
Are you
love
doing
that-
it right?
I love that the pitch for Final Fantasy 15 was literally just like, what if everything in the world was exactly the same, except everyone also had a big sword all the time, but everything else is the same as the real world?
yeah, like not kidding. His weapon is, I think, it is actually bigger than Sephiroth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
When I was playing the remake, I could not stop. I would always burst out laughing every time he pulled that thing out. I was like, this is just so absurdly big. Like the Buster Sword kinda looks ridiculous, but also believable, and then he's just got this 10-foot katana. I'm like, I can't take this game seriously when he has that thing.
All right, so our first segment is going to be a new entry to the Hall of Fameluster. We're each going to be submitting an idea for our best unused Assassin's Creed setting. Throw out a few things you think they might want to do. If you have any ideas for like historical figures you think would be cool if they were involved, or like supernatural creatures that shouldn't be there but will be there, etc. That would be cool. So let's, Luke, why don't you kick us off?
How about somewhere in Scotland? Maybe around the time of, I don't know, Braveheart, when that was happening, whatever that was.
I'm gonna write
then-
Scotland Braveheart times.
Yes.
That is the most English answer you could have given. Just like
Listen,
Scotland, Braveheart thing.
Like many English, I don't care about Scotland. So,
You guys
There's-
fought
there's-
so hard to keep them, though.
yeah, apparently that's the only time in the history of England we've ever actually cared about Scotland was when they were threatening to leave.
And then we
I
went
mean-
back to not caring.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight away. We're not caring. They're like, we want to stay in the EU. We're like, no, well, we don't. It's tough shit.
Anyway, go on, yeah.
Mythical monsters. Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
Look, one of the most famous mythical monsters to ever exist. Everyone knows the Loch Ness monster.
Mythical, okay.
Mythical, I don't know, something supernatural. Something. It fits. Don't argue with me, or I'll stop you from uploading videos.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think we'd get to threats, I guess, this early in the podcast.
I'm just an angry person. I can't help it. I've got a lot of reasons to be angry at the moment.
I do like the idea of riding the Loch Ness monster.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, Ree, what you got?
Alright, I'm gonna be like super selfish as a British person. I know we're getting
Again.
the next Assassin's Creed. I know we're getting the next Assassin's Creed game, but I also think we should have one set in the War of the Roses, so just before Henry VII, Henry VIII, maybe even just Henry VIII, because like imagine how wild it would be to have him as a character. Just like, I don't know, you assassinate his wives or something.
Yeah, then he can't fit through doors and have to, yeah.
Or maybe
I know,
it has
I mean-
6 chapters, and each chapter he has a different wife.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah, the chapter titles are the wife for that chapter.
Or how they
And, like-
died or
Chapter 1
something.
and Berlin.
Now and then there's like a side quest where the French have pissed him off, so you go and deal with them and probably get beaten by them. It's like a force loss fight. So yeah, trying to think of mythical monsters. He did like to big himself up in stories quite a lot. He probably made up some shit about fighting dragons. So maybe they could have Henry VIII put you like through how he saw himself, like they developed that technology so you can actually live as him, how he viewed himself.
That's
So
fun.
you actually just defeat dragons and shit. You go to Scotland, defeat some dragons, defeat the Scottish while you're there, just for good measure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of hidden potential here, you know, and just utilizing the absolute brilliance that is Henry VIII.
Yeah, he was a big fat bastard. All right. I saw that movie, The Other Boleyn Girl, I think, like a few years ago.
Natalie
And
Portman, right?
Oh,
yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, it was wild. I hate him so much. I hated all the characters though. So
To be fair, I think that was actually a bit generous towards him because it makes the assumption that he at one point cared about either.
yeah,
of them,
that's
so-
fair.
Both of you assuming he cared, ever.
All right, Johnny, what you got?
Well, I had written down occupied Scotland the one time that William Wallace won independence for Scotland forever, and it was never an issue again. But I guess I can't do that one.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm kidding. I had that written down, but that was one of my answers. But I'm gonna go with actually the American West in like the late mid 1800s.
Okay.
So basically, just since we're doing New Vegas anyways, which is just a Fallout game where you get to be a cowboy, why not an Assassin's Creed game where you get to be a cowboy?
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Hunting down bounties, stabbing people, shooting them with a 6-shooter. I don't know, maybe you have the little revolvers that come out on the mechanical things instead of a blade. You have a little pistolero and just...
Nice. Not to give you more credit over me, but I think that it would be super cool because you could easily invoke like a bunch of Native American mythical monsters, which are the coolest ones.
Oh, of course. I was just gonna say, like, if you're gonna fight a mythical monster that's kind of cryptid, I would go with a Wendigo. Off the bat, because that's already so tied into both Native American and pioneer lore. Because that was always one of those monsters that was always like, oh, well, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, you guys across the pond may not know them, but we have everyone's got like you'll see one every 3 or 4 days, just like out in the woods. They're just all over the fucking place.
It's like a jackalope.
It's similar to a jackalope.
Oh, so is Until Dawn based on a true story?
Yeah, that is a true story, and oh man, I love Until Dawn. But Johnny, did we play that as a group?
Did we play that? I lived with Katie Johnson.
Okay, yes, then yes.
So my roommate senior year, we all played Until Dawn together with Nirav. And she became obsessed.
She played it through like 8 or 9 times, I think, like the whole way.
I think she might have gotten every possible ending on it.
Then, but I think she also did that with Life is Strange. But like, also those are the only 2 games that she's ever played.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
She's a completionist. What are you gonna say?
Okay, so my idea was for like Middle Kingdom China. Like I'm thinking, like the rise of like the emperor, or like more like the fall of the is it the Qing dynasty? The last Middle Kingdom dynasty. But the idea being that like you're like someone working for the court, like for the emperor's court, and like realize like I would think like the start of the story would be like you doing all these sort of like missions to sort of like hold the integrity of the kingdom together, and then like starting to realize that like maybe it shouldn't be held together, and like realizing like all these governors coming to power, like some of them maybe have the right idea, whatever, moral gray area. The really cool thing we can have if we do this is that we can get a pet dragon, and that's going to be very good.
I do think pet dragons are good. I'd have to second that.
I'm thinking a Mushu situation, probably less funny, but maybe voiced by Kevin Hart. Who knows?
Oh, I'm a big fan of this. Big fan of this.
All right, so we're gonna do our votes. So Johnny, what we do is like everyone gets 2 votes, and you can apply them to any 2 things, including your own. So we'll just go around. So what are your 2 votes going?
You know what? I'm actually gonna give. I guess I'll give one of my votes to myself just to keep it tradition, and then I think I'll give the other vote to my other idea that was taken before me. So that would be
Scotland Braveheart.
Yeah, Scotland Braveheart.
Assassin's Creed Braveheart.
The war for
Assassin's
Scottish
Creed
independence
Braveheart.
forever.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Everyone has to give a name to your thing. Like, what would it be called?
Oh man, I don't know what Old West Assassin's Creed would be. I guess Assassin's Creed.
Rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting.
Rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting. Honestly, that might be the best I could do.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed New Vegas. There you
Assassin's Creed, got it. Mine's definitely Assassin's Creed Dynasty. Oh man, I can see the cover. Oh, look at this. Look at the sakura flowers floating. All right, Luke, where are your votes going?
I will also give one to myself because why not? Absolutely, and I'll give my other vote to Ree's idea just because I like the idea of doing it with Henry VIII having a different wife every time you meet him or something.
That is very funny. Ree, what are your votes going to be?
Okay, my first vote's going to Luke's Scotland idea just because I like his lack of Scottish knowledge, so I just want to appreciate that. And I also vote for him to be the creative director of that game because it would just be hysterical. Also, he can do no research.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
If we redo this on the condition that like he can do like no research beyond like what he's just learned about Scotland like from a tertiary source, and like is like it has to just like imagine up the rest of it, and like you can't rewatch Braveheart either. Like it has to be what you remember from the movie.
I remember
Okay.
more about Groundskeeper Willie than I do about Braveheart. So.
Even better.
Put him in the game as a character somehow.
Yeah. All right. Where's your other vote?
My other vote has got to be Assassin's Creed New Vegas. It can't not be.
Okay. I'm gonna give one for there, and honestly, like, with the condition that he can do no research, I'm definitely gonna go for Assassin's, and it has to be titled Assassin's Creed Braveheart. I'll give a vote there, and one to myself. But at the end of the day, of course, Scotland, sorry, no, you're right, never mind. Assassin's Creed, Scotland, Braveheart is the winner. So, yeah, nice. Okay, so we have another inductee into the Hall of Fameluster. Also, I had an idea. We should probably, like, make a physical, like, page where we add to these every week, which would make sense.
That would make
it's gonna
sense.
look beautiful.
It would be.
That is kind of. I was just gonna say that's kind of implied with like a hall.
Yeah, the hall is under construction right now. Please check back in a week.
Yeah. Someone can make it in dreams.
Okay, I've actually had an idea, and it's my original idea. All right, so let's get into the meat of this. So today we're going to be talking about Fallout New Vegas, which is developed by Obsidian and published by Bethesda Softworks. 2010, I believe, is the release date for that. Pretty quick turnaround time. I believe it was developed from like starting in like late 2008 and released like in mid 2010. So they did not have a whole lot of time on it, which would explain perhaps some of the technical things that have happened. But yeah, let's jump into it. So I just for my own experience, like when I got a laptop in 2015. This was like basically my whole life. Like I've only had Nintendo consoles, and I never really like looked outside of that for games. And then like when I got a job out after college, I got myself like a nicer laptop and was like, oh, I actually saw, weirdly enough, like this was in like late 2015. I saw an ad on TV for Fallout 4, and I was like, that looks really cool. And then I did like 4 seconds of research to find out that there's no way my laptop could run it. And so I was like, okay, this one looks okay. Fallout New Vegas, I think, is the same thing. And so I grabbed that, and this was the first, like besides Pokemon, this was the first RPG I ever played. This was the first open world game I ever played. This was the first first-person shooter game I ever played. This was a gigantic, like, wow, whoa, what thing, like, for me. And it, like, has a really, like, nice place in my heart because of that, and like perhaps I'm a little bit biased towards it because of all that, but man, like it just like completely like shattered my vision back then of what like video games could be and what they could do. Yeah, so and Fallout is my favorite franchise. I've spent like 800 hours in Fallout 4 just building settlements, so I'm there all the time. How about you, Luke? You what you think? What's your experience?
Yeah,
with
New Vegas. I mean, I've only played 3 New Vegas and maybe half of 4, but New Vegas is definitely the one that hooked me the most. In general, I just liked a lot of the writing. I feel like Bethesda games are kind of not great when it comes to story, but New Vegas is really well crafted. A lot of the world is really fleshed out and well built, and that's kind of the thing I want most in games. And so, like a lot of the characters, like. It was like you get to the strip and there's like 4 different factions that are all fighting for control and you're going to get to pick them. And then there was other stuff. Like the thing I really liked more than anything was the Kings. I just thought this idea
they're
that
so cool.
They are fun.
This idea that because it's obviously been like 100 years or so since the apocalypse, that they all think that it's not just they don't know it was just some really famous musician, but they think he was like some actual kind of god, and that's why there were places that were dedicated to mimicking his movements. I just realized both kind of amusing, but also a really good idea. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that, like bandits as well. They weren't just bandits; they all belonged. I think there was like 3 or 4 different sort of clans of bandits, essentially.
Yeah,
and there was different stuff with all of them. Just in general, I felt like the whole world was really fleshed out, and everything has a description or there's a reason for it, and it's not just here's a group of bandits and they do mean stuff. There's this group of bandits, there's this faction and this faction, and then of course you've got all the big ones, all the different casinos. Then the Roman guys whose name I'm forgetting now.
Which guys?
Legion.
Oh, the Legion.
The Legion.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of, and then the NCR. And just in general, I think my biggest hook, or the reason I like that game the most, is because it just feels like, unlike Bethesda games, they actually put a lot of time into the world and the characters that you meet along the way, which is something I don't think Bethesda do very well. Aside from maybe a few key characters, a lot of their supporting cast always feel really lacking, whereas New Vegas felt like everyone had a lot of detail to them, and that's the thing that always gets me most interested in a game.
Yeah. How about you, Ree?
Yeah, I mean, I really like what you said there about the world feels lived in. It feels realistic to its own, I suppose, geography. All the different factions, all the different groups of people, they're all different based on where they are in the map. One thing I always noticed is that the characters, NPCs, and even enemies, both friendly characters and not friendly characters, they seem more desperate the closer you get to Vegas. The bandits you approach in Vegas, they absolutely can't be reasoned with. They're, oh god, their name escapes me now, but you know the ones that are, yes, the fiends, yeah, they're just completely beyond being able to be reasoned with. You can talk to one of them as part of a quest to deliver some drugs to them, and beyond that, I believe that's it. And when you start in Good Springs, everyone seems fairly content-ish with their life. They're sort of just taking stuff day by day. They don't really have much of a care about what's going on the other side of the river. And one thing I really like is that no one can decide on whether Caesar is pronounced Caesar or Kaiser. And that seems to be based on where they are on the map. It's just little things like that I think, oh my god, how did so few people at Obsidian think about this much? And I think it is because it's just a complete passion project. It's a love letter to the first two Fallouts. You can just so tell that it wasn't a cash grab. They had this story that they wanted to tell, possibly for a decade, ever since they lost the Fallout license. And they just it just feels like a game that they wanted to make. They had something to say. And I think that just show through the game design. I know there's a lot of aspects of it that are lacking. The combat isn't brilliant, but obviously, honestly, that's not why I don't think that's why people would call it one of their favorite games, or in my case, probably my favorite game, full stop. It is just because it feels like a lived-in world. Yeah, absolutely adore New Vegas.
One thing I say about these other action RPGs versus New Vegas, and it is one of my favorite games ever as well, but in most other games action RPGs, you're kind of trying to get through the dialogue to get through the combat, and this is the exact opposite. I'm trying to get through this combat real quickly so I can get to the good stuff, which is the dialogue.
Oh god.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh god. Quickly, one thing I love about New Vegas is that it's one of the few open world games where I do not need the map. You could drop me anywhere in completely disgusting looking desert, which hasn't aged well at all.
Oof.
But you could drop me anywhere, and I could find my way around instantly.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's one thing that we need to give Todd a little credit for, because I could definitely say the same thing about Fallout 3. That game, you can definitely be plopped down anywhere and just walk, and it'll be okay. You don't have to keep checking the map. But anyway, Johnny, so how about you?
Yeah, no, a lot of my points have already been touched on, but I just I know a lot about this game, not because I've gotten into the lore or anything, but mostly because I have played this game all the way through on 3 different versions, because I played it first. It was one of the first games I bought for my PS3. Which, as you can imagine, ran perfectly well and just was fine. On
that wonderful PS3 architecture compatible with everything.
Yeah, and then that was with no DLC, no nothing. And then I got a couple of years later, I got the Ultimate Edition for the PS3, which ran even better.
Oh god, I had to abandon that.
Yeah, no, but then I finally, the last 5 years pretty much, I've always played it on a PC with a bunch of mods installed, And I don't know, like every time through, I'm just like, even the stuff I remember, I'm all like you said, I still listen through like pretty much all the dialogue for most of the characters, like especially the companions. And I'm gonna give Todd credit. In Fallout 4, the companions are better, but going from Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas, like the companions. There's no context.
Oh no, there's not. Like I'm trying to even remember the Fallout 3 companions. There's one that's a super mutant. Is that the Fox? Is that Fox?
Yeah.
Fox.
And he talks like this.
It's very good.
I hate
God,
Fox
it's so
purely
bad.
because at the end of the game when you have to go in and like.
Oh yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. Actually.
Say,
we all know.
Fox,
We all
you
know.
can survive this. Why don't you go in? And Fox is like.
Oh, that's not my destiny.
I just think.
Oh,
Fuck you! I want my story to continue.
Don't forget how Todd, for some reason, when he caved into like fan demands and actually made it so you could make the logical decision to send the person in who isn't gonna die, the ending calls you a pussy for doing that. Like, can we please just appreciate that? The ending slide is like a true hero stepped up. It's like, oh, sorry, I saw an opportunity to not die, and I took it.
Well, no, okay, I think that
wrote yourself a massive plot hole.
Doesn't that happen if you like send Sarah Lyons in though, and she actually dies?
You get the same slide if someone actually dies as, and you get the same one if someone doesn't die.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I didn't send. Even though I had that option, I did not send in Sarah because I was like, she's gonna die too, huh? Okay. But yeah, that was kind of garbage there. Anyway, this is we're getting a little off track, but one thing that I want to kind of focus in on is like why. What for each of you, like, why do you think this game is so beloved? Like, if I'm like an outsider and I've not played, let's just say I haven't played any of the Fallout games, but I hear people incessantly talking about this. This is pretty much on every list of the best RPGs of all time. Like, why? Sell me on this.
I think writing quality is probably the big one. Like, I am personally the opinion that Bethesda are shit at writing stuff. Just like you said, there were so many holes.
How can you say that when Todd created my friend Cicero?
Wait, what? But let's put it this way: I was incredibly excited for Fallout 4. I bought the Pip-Boy edition, and then I maybe dropped off that game halfway through. We got to the point where you find out who the father is, and was just like, "Yeah, I saw this coming." Like, I don't know, 30 hours ago, maybe 5 minutes into the game, I knew this exact twist, and you still act like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I just think at some point after that, I was just like, "Game sucks." They just make such boring games. Like, I could never get into Skyrim. I was never into Oblivion. Like, New Vegas is... I think I liked Fallout 3 a bit, but, like, New Vegas was the one that got me, and I think more than anything, it's the quality of the writing and the world they built. Because really, it plays exactly the same as Fallout 3. Gameplay-wise, it very much feels like it could have been an expansion to Fallout 3. But like, just it's the quality of writing more than anything. I think they just built a much more memorable world than Bethesda did in 3 or 4.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, I love Fallout 4. It's still one of my, like, maybe top 10 games of all time, but it is so not because of the writing or the story.
The gunplay is very good.
The gunplay is great, but, like, I honestly, like, and I know it's the reason a lot of people hate it, but, like, I love building those settlements. I love, like, managing settlements. I love modding the settlements and, like, recruiting. You know, it's, like, fun, dude. Anyway.
I wasn't the biggest fan of resource scavenging and, like, construction and all that, but I do love the idea of like trying to rebuild some civilization in a Fallout game in real time.
I will say though, for Fallout 4, like the part that made it like so good for me was like I spent literally like on my first game save file. I played on PS4 originally and like with no mods obviously, and I spent about 550 hours in that file with no mods or anything, building the entire wasteland up. I built every settlement up to its maximum. And then I went through and I did like the Raiders thing, like in Nuka World, and it gives you the option to take over, you know, you take over the Raiders, and they tell you like you should tear it all down. And I was like, yeah, I should. And literally I'd spent hundreds of hours building these settlements. I went to each one and I destroyed them. And like only once every settlement I had built was destroyed did I feel at peace, and I like closed out that file. Like it was beautiful closure. Like yes, let the world rot.
And when Nirav saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there were no more worlds left to conquer.
Yeah, no, that's true. I did weep. Anyway, yeah. So like, so for anyone who's like curious and doesn't really know about this, like the Fallout is like a world in which like there are these. It's not exactly the same as our world. I believe there's a divergence point like in the 1940s, and like the transistor is like the one device for computers that's not created, and then like everything else branches off of that. The bombs fall like there's a war between Europe and America and China as a resource war, and blah blah blah. Nuclear bombs drop in the year 2077, which in this world is like 1954, and.
But the future.
Yeah, but the future. It's retrofuturism. Like if you know Disney, like Tomorrowland, it's that. That's what it is.
It's the Jetsons with
It's
guns.
the Jetsons with guns. Thank you. Did the Jetsons have guns?
George Jetson might have been packing. He seems like the kind of dad that would carry a 6-shooter.
Maybe like I was thinking of like a shrink ray. I don't know.
No, he's straight up gonna smoke you if you try to break into his house.
Yeah, but the setup of New Vegas is like so. I think maybe the best setup for like an RPG ever, like for the role playing aspect of it, because like
absolutely.
you're minding your own damn business out in the desert. You're carrying a package, and you get shot in the head by Chandler from Friends, and he's like, "Hey, bada bing."
What else is new?
What else is new? Yeah. And then he's like, "Could I be any more evil?" And then he like takes the package from you and
saving that impression.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, no, but like, so you wake up with amnesia with no idea of who you are, what you were doing. The only thing you know is that Chandler tried to kill you and he took the package from you. And so basically you're left in this world like with you have a mission basically that is exactly compelling enough to get you moving, but not so compelling that you can't stop and do other stuff. And like that's the key here, because like, and I think Fallout 3 also nailed this, being that like your dad, who is like an experienced wastelander and like survivalist and doctor, is like out somewhere and he left of his own accord, and you're like, okay, let me go find him. Like it's fine, it's not that urgent, you know. Fallout 4 fucking shat the bucket on that, because they're like, oh my god, my son has been kidnapped by a mysterious institute turning people into robots. And like,
it's the reverse of Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, you go out to find your father. In Fallout 4, you go to find your kid.
Yeah, and it turns out that finding your kid is like 1,000 times more urgent than finding your father. Is the thing.
Turns out my baby doesn't know how to survive in the wasteland.
Yeah.
Weird.
But like, yeah. So that setup. I kind of want to like to move into this, because I think this is kind of the best way to like, I guess, communicate how cool it is. But like, so I want each of us to like kind of like share like an interesting like personal moment like from the game, like something that stuck with you. Like, so I'll kick us off. Like, actually, right when I started, as I said, like this was my first big like RPG and open world thing and like all that stuff. I had no idea how any of it worked. I didn't know what Fallout was or what VATS was. So I walked out of Doc Mitchell's house, and like I had all this stuff in Good Springs, and I talked to Victor, and then like I walked into the general store, and I asked, and like trying to like I saw like some items on the shelf. I was like, oh, I should try to purchase these, and then I like used VATS and like killed Chet, the owner of the general store, like just like right away, like with a headshot, and I was like, oh my god, like what have I done? I have to bury the body, and like. It did not let me do that, unfortunately, but I just like I literally like was like so afraid, because I had no idea how like these things worked. I was like, I like took all the the junk on his shelves and just like covered up the body, and was like, maybe no one will find him. And then like the oh my god, this is just like a testament to like the quality of like the writing. Like later on, there's the part with the what is it? The powder gangers are attacking Good Springs, I think.
Yeah.
And then
powder gangers.
they're like, oh, we have to like gather up our forces and stuff. And like you like gather everyone up, and like the lady, was it Trudy who owns the bar? And she's like, hey, is that
Miles?
Who's the bar owner?
Can I just say for a second, Bree, you were talking about how it starts off with like this town where everyone seems content and happy. and the character who gives you a tutorial is literally named Sunny Smiles.
Oh yeah,
I just wanna
yeah.
point
That's a
that
good
out.
point. Good point.
And like the town is called Good Springs. Like it's like okay, everything's good.
Good Springs is an actual
It-
town, though.
Also, we haven't mentioned Easy Pete. Just shout out. To
Oh
my
yeah,
man,
shout out to
Pete.
Easy Pete for sure.
In trouble.
But anyway, like what happened was like I think it was Trudy was like we were like gathered up getting ready for the attack, and she's like, "Has anybody seen Chet?" And I was just like, "No, I haven't seen him." And I was like, just so like I don't know. I was just very impressed by the fact that like they knew I was gonna kill Chet accidentally.
That's the thing that I appreciate about it, as opposed to so many other like RPG or like I guess freedom of choice games. Is there's only one character in all of New Vegas that you cannot kill, and that's just so you have a way to finish the game.
Is that Yes Man?
And also,
Yes, man.
yeah,
Okay.
they give like a reason. He just like inhabits another robot body if you try and kill him, and
Yeah.
it at least makes more sense than for some reason like Todd's God mode that he assigns to random characters, seemingly random
Oh, yeah,
characters.
TGM.
Before you even
Todd
realize
mode.
they're essentially.
Toggle Todd mode. I love that console command. Okay, so yeah, I want to kind of keep on that idea of like a interesting personal moment. So like, Johnny, what's one for you?
Oh man. Well, not really for me, but the first time that when I first got it, it was obviously me and my two younger brothers, basically joint custody of the PS3. And me and my younger brother Timmy were playing through it the first time, and he was controlling the character. And I forget how it escalated to this point, but he got really annoyed with Easy Pete and killed him.
Why?
I would be so afraid to shoot Easy Pete because I would be like 100% sure he has dynamite strapped to his chest.
Exactly, but like I don't know what happened, but somehow he killed Easy Pete, and then obviously he couldn't ally with Good Springs, so he had to join the Powder Gangers, and I think he started accidentally killing the Powder Gangers too. And then he tried to go through the Deathclaw territory in Sloan, and it was just everything that could have gone wrong with the first playthrough of that game for me and my little brother went wrong. And it's still like he's like in my top 3 games ever today, which I think is the testament to like how different it can be for each playthrough. Because every playthrough since, I pretty much always, I save Good Springs. I even save that one settler that's supposed to die in the tutorial, and like, I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like it's even if you do it exactly right every time, or you mess it up, you're still gonna have a great time, and that's just what's always.
Yeah,
come through for me.
I actually think that one thing I guess we're dancing around is like the cool thing here is that like I don't think you can soft block yourself out of finishing this game. Like it pretty much like is adaptable in any way to like whatever you do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, like Ree, what's sort of like personal moment you've had with this game?
God, if I could like if I like took some time to think about it, I'm sure I could think of like. The
I
most
sent you this
beautiful-
outline 6 days
Yeah,
ago.
I know. But like, I don't know. There's just so much to pick from, and like, I could probably pick like a really nice, beautiful, bittersweet moment, like a conversation with Veronica or Boone or something. I know he's a bit of a meme, but he's a cool dude.
Oh, it's dead.
But I have to mention this because I'm scared that no one else will. So this is when I realized, oh my god, this game really just trusts you to make your own decisions here. So I go to Vegas. I'm gonna confront Chandler Bing. I'm hyped as fuck, I'm just thinking, oh my god. And you get the what in the goddamn moment,
Yeah.
You enter the casino, he spotted you, and I noticed the Black Widow dialogue, and I think,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
so if anyone doesn't know, in New Vegas there's a perk called Black Widow. It means it's a perk for a female character. There's a male equivalent as well. But
it sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And it makes
Lady
it
Killer
means
and Confirmed Bachelor. They're both
Yeah.
good.
so it means that you can flirt with some male characters, and also you do extra damage against them. So, and it's like the cringiest flirting I've seen to put to video games. Oh my god, I'm trying to think what the last line just like had me dying. It was like, oh god, I'm a courier, right? Let me handle your package. And I just like, oh my god, this writing, like considering like, they are assuming that, like, you've picked a female character, you picked this perk, and for some reason you haven't shot Benny already. And they've put, like, this absolutely brilliant dialogue in.
Yeah.
And I had to do it, you know? And at that point, like, I thought, okay, how weird can I take this? So, at that point, you're sort of expected to... Because you end up sleeping with him, and you're expected to kill him in his sleep. Yeah, you're expected... Because bear in mind, this dude did shoot you for barely no reason. He could have just taken the thing he stole from you at the beginning of the game and run, but he shot you. Left you for dead, and you've chased him around the entire Mojave Desert looking for him. And I thought, and it gives you the option to not kill him and try and, like, form an alliance with him. And I just think, why would they do that? Like, it makes no sense. So I did it, you know? My character is like, I was role-playing as someone who makes the most batshit crazy decisions. Like, she went around the Mojave Desert. She just went around the Mojave Desert, hell-bent on killing this guy, and ended up just hitting on him, and then ended up being with him. I mean, they never actually finished that plot point. I looked into it, and they were, I think, gonna do a thing where that plot point's taken further. He ends up just getting kidnapped by the Legion, and then if you free him, he disappears from the game. But I just love that they took it that far for a decision that actually makes no sense for your character. Like, they just really trust you. They give you this playground, and just let you make really stupid decisions, and that's what I love about it.
Nice. How about you, Luke?
That's not really as heartfelt, but the Wild Wasteland perk, one of the things I like the most about it, is it adds just an absurd amount of Monty Python references to the game. There's just so many that come out of it, like getting attacked by a gang of old women. There's like some town somewhere that's been completely destroyed, and if you go into the basement of a church, there's holy hand grenades and a box.
Oh, yeah.
On a box, it's the written description, and it's the word-for-word quote from the movie The Holy Grail about how to use it. I think there's a doc somewhere that maybe takes you to Legion HQ, has Roman E. Domus on it, or something from The Life of Brian, which is like a bit where they argue about how to spell Romans go home in Latin. And I think there's just tons of them. And I was just like, why is there so many Monty Python references in this game?
Huh?
Maybe that's just me as an Englishman appreciating the sheer scale of it, but
I think the better question is really, why are there not as many Monty Python references in other games?
Other stuff? Yeah. One thing I wanted to share, just to like kind of like show the depth of like how like I guess intense these experiences are with this game. Like there was a part. Do you guys remember the thing? There's like a mission later in the White Glove Society. With like I think it's called like Where's the Beef, which is already very funny.
Oh yeah.
But like
they're the cannibals, aren't they?
Yeah, the cannibals. Right. Hank Gunderson. I own a farm, I think. There's a but like so there's a mechanic in New Vegas where you can disguise yourself as other factions by wearing their faction clothing, which has just never been used in anything else ever for some reason. And is brilliant. Like
Hitman.
Okay, fair. But like in like a big like game with like many factions, like if you walk into Powderganger territory and you put on a Powderganger outfit, like they won't know who you are. They'll just think you're one of them, and that opens up a whole new bunch of dialogue and actions and stuff. So like I dressed up as like a White Glove Society member, and I was like wandering around, and like I had told just so I wouldn't get spotted, like sneaking around the back, like I had told Rex Rex is the dog, by the way, that your companion, to hang out. Yeah, he's a very good boy, and here's why. I told him to hang out like in the hallway, like in the atrium area, and like I was able to like get the key and like sneak behind the desk and all that, and get to the back room, and I found a and so even though I was in like disguise, like I was like walking around as normal, I was able to break into a door, and I found like a note that like told me like sort of indirectly like, oh, these people are cannibals, like in one of these hotel rooms. And like I put down the note and I turned around, and there were just like two guys in the doorway with crowbars like looking at me, and I was like that was like the most terrifying moment ever. And like I had no weapons with me, right, because you can't like bring weapons into the casinos, and I was like, oh my god, I'm fucking dead. And then like out of nowhere, like even though he was in another room, Rex like jumped out of the hallway and like tore this guy's head off. And I was like, this is the best game ever. Like that's just like the degree to which like you can get into the role playing on this, you know? Like and How I can't imagine why Matthew Perry never did another video game after this. Can't imagine.
I just feel like the New Vegas fan base probably put him off for life. I imagine he gets a lot of fan mail about his role as Benny.
Honestly, I remember this. This is another. This is like every time this happens with Fallout. Like, I remember there was like a thing a few years ago where like they like asked like Matthew Perry about like his role in New Vegas, and he was like, I've never heard of that. And it's just like, I just was like incredible. But see, the thing is like Liam Neeson. Also, like, for Fallout 3, he played your dad. Like, Liam Neeson also, like, he received an award for it, and he accepted the award and everything. And, like, in 2018, someone, like, asked him in an interview about it, and he, like, completely didn't know what Fallout was.
Now, how much of that was Fallout 76 coming out?
He's like, I don't know. I never heard of it.
Like,
who's this?
Actually keep up.
Who's this Bob Howard?
They keep up with it too well, and they're just like in denial because of how bad 76 was.
Oh man. Did anyone? Go on.
Oh, I was just saying when Ree, when you were talking about like the dialogue to have sex with Benny, all I could think was, of course it'd be cheesy dialogue because you know Benny would fall for it. You know a character like Benny thinks, oh yeah, every woman wants to have sex with me. It's only a matter
Hey,
of
no,
time.
what he says is every woman wants to have sex with me. Bada bing.
Bada bing.
What was that his catchphrase? What was his catchphrase?
I mean, ring-a-ding.
Oh, ring-a-ding. Yeah, that was it. Ring-a-ding, baby.
we didn't say ring-a-ding, baby, once. What a loss.
It was
garbage.
implied.
It was a.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to use my proposed name for your Fallout series for this instead,
What did you say?
the Super Mutant Variety Hour.
The Super Mutant Variety. Yeah, we're still workshopping names for my Fallout series. Like, we haven't thought of anything yet. Johnny's probably the best, though, the Super Mutant Variety Hour, which has nothing to do with what we're doing.
It has nothing to do with anything, but it sounds fun.
It does sound like fun. Anyway, I just keep having this vision of like there's another series that Polygon did a long time ago called Touch the Skyrim, which is sort of like got this idea, but like there was like a part at the end where like they had I think on top of a mountain there was like a giant like screaming, and like there was a Mewtwo and a Scyther just like having sex on top of the mountain, and he's like, is this your vision, Todd? Is this what you wanted?
No, I didn't see that. Holy shit.
Anyway,
man.
that's sort of like, yeah, that's what we need to get at here. Yeah, maybe I'll steal that name. Actually, it's sounding funnier the more I think about it. All right. Anyway, I'll close it down because I'm actually gonna try and start, like, I guess recording that in the next like few minutes here with my friend. But anyway, let's sort of start wrapping it up because we've been on this for a bit. Do you think that this game needs more or less ghosts?
Well, it's already got them Kami Ghost, trying to paint the moon pink and draw Lenin's face on it.
That's true. Actually, I was thinking like, oh, there aren't any ghosts in this, but like Dead Bunny is just entirely ghosts. So like,
Yeah.
Oh man, Dead Money might be
Money
the
is
most
terrible.
difficult.
It's awful.
And
yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot because it was difficult. It's probably the most difficult Fallout experience I've ever had when I first played it.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely underleveled.
This is actually, well, we should give a quick shout out to the DLC. There's 4 separate DLC packs, which if you get the Ultimate Edition, you'll get all of them, that are each like pretty much their own game. Like they have enough content to be their own game each. My personal favorite is Lonesome Road. I know a lot of people didn't love that one, but like it is still one of my like favorite DLCs.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
a big
I
fan
think
of
I might
the
have to
old
give it
world
to
blues.
Honest Hearts just for Joshua Graham.
Yeah, Joshua Graham.
The most badass Fallout character ever.
He was the guy
No,
that
I
was
can-
bandaged up, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the burned man.
He died. He like died in 6 fires and came back to life, I think.
I mean,
And
Wasn't it
he's
like he
I'm
was a
Christian
former
now.
Legion guy who fell out of favour and was like set on fire and thrown off the dam and somehow survived it?
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I love Honest Hearts, probably my favorite DLC of the bunch, but it might not be anywhere near as good if it didn't have Joshua in it. He's just such a cool character. I mean, he just spits out like the best lines. I mean, there's that one where it's like, I was baptized twice, once in water, once in fire, and it's like,
Oh my god,
man.
yes.
And
What-
he's just sitting there like fixing a bunch of guns while he's saying it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. He's just constantly reloading guns, and it's just
Just-
such an aesthetic. While like quoting Bible lines, it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, he's a wonderful
Expect
character.
God to do all the work.
Like, so regardless, like, okay, we gotta get back to this. How many do we need more ghosts for this game, or do we need less
There's too
ghosts?
many.
There's too many. I
There's
agree.
too
I'm
many.
gonna say we take some out.
Yeah, let's call me ghosts.
Let's send them to the moon. They can have the moon. They can paint it pink or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of wrap up this section and move on to the next bit. Time for games. Today we're gonna have a bit of a guessing game. We're not like keeping score or anything, but so here I have a list, and I have randomized the order of the list using like a number generator, and there on here is a mixture of titles that are either a Fallout perk or a black metal album name. The black metal definition is just whatever was on Spotify's official black metal thing. I know people are very angry about genres in metal, so please don't at me. This is on Spotify. All right, so how about this? Snake Eater.
That's
Ooh,
a black metal album and not a Fallout.
I was gonna say I don't remember
Fallout.
that.
I'm going with Fallout Perk.
Okay, and we'll say this. Extra point if you can guess which game it comes from. If it is
Metal
one.
Gear.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay,
Oh, that's a
Fallout
Metal Gear
Perk.
and Snake Eater. I think.
Yeah, Fallout Perk in Fallout 2.
Ooh, so this is actually a Fallout perk. It is from one. It's from the first game, though. What?
Oh.
Oh,
Right.
so close.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? Bonds of Steel.
All right, that is a Fallout Perk.
That is a Fallout.
Remember that one? All
From
right.
New Vegas?
Yeah,
oh, no,
it is.
Four.
No, that was actually from New Vegas. Garbage.
Oh, damn.
I shouldn't have included any of these. How about this one? Sworn to the Dark.
Oh, is that one just a metal album?
I think a metal
Yeah.
album, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't a
Yeah.
very sneaky character most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, this is a metal album. Let's try this one. Transylvanian Hunger.
Yeah, I think that's a Fallout perk. It sounds like the vampire perk that usually each game has.
I want to
I'm
say
going
it's
with
a
metal
Fallout
album.
perk from 2.
That's actually a metal album. You got that one, Ray.
Oh,
I thought that was that to me sounded like one.
It sounded like it could be, yeah.
All right,
I'm
Storm
just
Chaser.
thinking of the cannibal perks.
Oh yeah, it is just the cannibal one, I think. Storm Chaser.
I want to
Metal
say that's a perk. I seem to specifically remember that being a perk in New Vegas.
I don't. Oh, man, I'm gonna say it's a perk, but I'm gonna say it's not from New Vegas. I'm gonna say it's from 1.
That is a perk. It's actually from '76.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
No
a new-
wonder
I
we
knew-
didn't get it.
Yeah,
I
no
knew
wonder.
it wasn't in New Vegas.
Right.
Frickin' Nirav, the only one that's here that's played 76.
Hey, okay, quick shout out. After the Wastelanders update, 76 is pretty good. Like, if you can get it for $20, it's worth it. It is still the
It
worst
just came
Fallout
off
game.
Game Pass.
Yeah, oh, it's on Game
I'll
Pass.
Check it out.
Dude, it's on Game Pass. Absolutely. If you have Game Pass, definitely worth your time. Like I said, it is still the worst Fallout game, but it is still pretty good. It's good enough to play. All right.
What a glowing review.
Okay. Honest. Well, compared to like what it used to be, that is a glowing review.
I was gonna say that game. Everything I read, that game sounded absolutely atrocious on launch.
I did the beta and everything. Man, we talk about that in a minute. Okay. How about this one? Faustian Pact.
That's a perk. I'm sure that's a perk.
Oh,
That's gotta be
yeah,
a
that
perk,
sounds like a
and if
perk.
not, it's...
That sounds
it
really
should be.
familiar to me.
That's
It's-
like isn't that the low karma one from New Vegas or something? I don't know.
Well, I want to double check now.
So is it a metal album?
It is actually a metal album, but I was pretty sure I didn't see it as a.
It sounds like a perk to me.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
yeah.
does. Yeah,
Sounds
it's
like
not.
something-
It's not one. No, I just wanted to double check. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this.
Got it. All right. How about this one? Living Anatomy.
That one is a New Vegas perk.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that sounds like it was something to do with that.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that-
or it was like
Yeah.
self-healing limbs.
It's a self-healing limbs thing, I think. Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's from Fallout 2, but it was in New Vegas as well. How about this one? Apocalyptist.
Apocalypse.
Metal album.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Apocalyptist.
metal album.
Okay. Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
metal
that's gonna
album.
be a metal album.
I did
yeah.
think that would be fun though. Like the idea, like, oh, I'm the apocalyptist. I'm doing apocalypse now. All right, last one here. Antichrist.
That is. Oh god, is that one
That feels
from
too
Fallout
obvious.
2?
I think that's a perk in some way.
Oh gosh, it's a perk, but I don't know which one it's from. It's not from New Vegas. It's from one of the other games that are less important.
Got him. No, it's actually a metal album, and I double checked again. It is not a Fallout perk.
Oh.
Oh.
Got him.
It might
Yes.
just be. It must just be the karma rating that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
You
like
could
something to do
definitely,
with negative
you could
karma.
definitely
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Wasteland Savior, and probably you could.
Oh,
also
you're right.
be
I think
Christ.
you're right. That's like the worst. Like, is that it might be the worst one. Okay, so real quickly, actually, I guess I want to shout for a quick second about like the progress Fallout 76 has made, because like when I played it, as I pre-ordered it because I'm a fool, and I played the beta, and like, man, that game was just like absolute dumpster fire. It was like the worst game I had played in maybe ever. Like I think my review of it was like, I would rather be playing Sonic Forces. And like,
Oh, bloody hell.
yeah,
Oh my god.
right. And so the thing is, though, like with like Wastelanders, it's not just like adding like an expansion. Like, they overhauled the entire game. Like, everything about it has been changed. They've added NPCs everywhere with many different branching dialogue trees. They've added factions with faction quests, and there's like faction reputations again. There's like the old school dialogue where you have like the actual box with like many branches of like fully written out lines and everything, like it is in 3 in New Vegas. It's like and like you have to like actually choose which factions you work with. Like, if you do like too many quests with the settlers or whatever, then you lock yourself out of doing stuff with like the blue caravan gang or stuff, something like that. And like, it's actually like really good, and it's definitely the most well written stuff like Bethesda Game Studios has made, for sure. I 100%
I
believe
definitely
they.
saw like a massive change in tone in the way people thought about that game after Wastelanders.
Yeah, if you look on Steam,
And
it
a lot of
actually
people
has
started
a.
to really talk about it being actually good.
It's actually got a higher like review rating on Steam than Fallout 4 now. And like, honestly, like, yeah, if you want more role playing stuff, 76 is better than 4 for that, for sure. So like I said, go on.
My personal favorite was when 76 first came out. It just seemed like there was a new story every week about another glitch that just made me laugh my head off.
Honestly,
the ways
that
people
was
were
the
finding to break
gift that kept on giving. Oh my
My
god,
favourite
the
was-
amount of drama.
The hackers that figured out how to spawn Fallout 4 assets into it, that absolutely cracked me up. People were spawning like a giant Brotherhood of Steel airship from Fallout 4. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was I was just gonna say it was definitely a game, but I'm not even sure it was.
It was definitely there.
It was a product,
Product, yeah.
I consumed it, I'm sure.
That and the class war that came about after they introduced the premium subscription, that was incredible.
Oh
Oh
god.
my god,
There
that
was
was
Yeah,
like, all
don't-
the people
that-
who weren't getting a subscription were joining together and planning to try and kill everyone that did buy
God.
a subscription.
Like, okay.
And then like, they
Amazing.
formed like gated communities and everything, and were like paying other players to guard it from the paws who were trying to enact their revenge. It was
It's
honestly.
amazing.
It's so good. Like, okay, I will, on one hand, yeah, every MMO that wants private servers, you gotta pay a monthly fee, sure. But like, on the other hand, the idea that like for this, people would pay a monthly fee is just so fucking hilarious. Oh man.
Even funnier is that I'm pretty sure the monthly fee for Fallout 76 is more expensive.
Yeah,
than,
it's
like, an
15
Xbox Game Pass subscription.
Right. Yeah, it's $15 on its own, which is like that's how much Game Pass Ultimate costs for like the console, PC, and xCloud and game or what is it called? Xbox Live. So like, and that comes in there too. I have to pay separately for Game Grumps. All right, so let's wrap up. So down into the wishing well, everybody please pull out the commemorative souvenir coin I've sent all of you.
Yeah, the one with Vault Boy on it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
If everyone could hold that and just close your eyes and toss it over your back into the wishing well. We'll start from the back here. So if you could choose the setting, and then we'll give it like a New Vegas-esque title for your dream like Fallout game. What would that be?
God, I'm just gonna be insanely toxic and just say Fallout New Vegas 2.
Not even Fallout New Vegas.
Oh god, that's better. God damn it.
Well, no, that was the rumored one. The rumored one for a while was Fallout New Orleans, which I really want still. But like, okay, that's fair. Luke, how about you?
I'll probably make an obvious choice and say maybe like London or somewhere in the UK would be really cool.
Fallout Braveheart. I love it.
Fallout Braveheart. It's in Scotland, and you're helping.
You get to ride the Loch Ness monster.
Loch Ness monster, special boss.
Very cool. Okay, Johnny, how about you?
All right, now this one, it doesn't have the actual place in the title, but I'll say the place after. But Fallout, Nuclear Winter. Everyone's favorite
Canada.
line from New Vegas. But it would take place in Detroit, so it'd finally be an actual like cold Fallout game.
Oh, and it could even take place before the bombs fell. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be much different.
Well, no, because
Got him.
That's the thing.
You're on watch, Detroit.
We're talking about the Fallout world, which is like the 1950s. So we're talking like 1950s.
Oh, I guess it was like
Detroit,
bustling
which
in
is
the 50s,
basically,
yeah.
You could eat off the street and be fine.
Many
And-
people did, I think.
Well, no, people do now. Back then you didn't have to. But we're talking before Ford and GM moved out.
Right.
So we're talking like basically the height of 1950s style capitalist excess.
Okay, sure.
Now bombed the heck out of.
So my idea was actually like pretty much from the Kings, like in New Vegas. The idea would be setting it in Nashville, which is a city that I love a lot, and having it so that each of the factions are like, you can see each of the factions was like tangentially formed out of one genre of music. So there would be like one that's like born out of like, you know, like EDM, and one that's kind of out of rock music, and one that's sort of out of country, etc., etc. And I would call it, yeah, there's a K-pop group. They're a minor faction, but they are very strong, and they're everywhere.
You don't know.
Like-
You're in
like that
Nashville,
cave in
there's
Fallout
a
3 filled
strong
with kids.
K-pop community.
Yeah, I would call that Fallout Music City. I think that'd be a fun game. Yeah. Huh. So,
And Memphis is just down the road if you want to see where the king himself was born.
yeah. It's a big, long road, I guess, but you could do it.
Yeah, no, it's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
Whatever.
what was it? But you went to
Run it.
Maine from Boston, which is like a similar
I think you
distance.
get on a boat, though.
Yeah, that's fair. There's
All
not
right.
really a good river to take.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Todd Howard for bringing us here today, gathering us all together, kind of sponsoring this episode with just like, watching over us. Thank you.
I wonder if we can
whatever
go in-
the latest console Skyrim is coming to.
I wonder if we can go a full episode one day about like roasting Todd.
I
that would
love
be
Todd.
phenomenal.
Todd, if you're listening, I love your work. Okay, like I said, like I love Fallout 3, I love Fallout 4, I love Skyrim, like with very genuinely in my heart, and 76 even, for like all different reasons than why I love New Vegas, but like and I mean, I will be honest, there isn't anyone else that can replicate that feeling of like Bethesda RPGs. Like I'm very, very anxiously waiting for Starfield. I will of course be waiting for reviews on that one, but I'm hoping that they've had enough time for it to be good. And with Wastelanders and 76, I think they've like learned their lesson. So I'm hoping that they do that going forward.
Look, can we just call this podcast Todd Busters and just get it over with?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening to Todd Busters. We're a podcast from toddluster.com.
Podcast, actually.
A Toddcast from toddluster.com. So we are starting to kind of get into the making some more stuff for our YouTube channel, ramping that up a little bit too. So be sure to check that out. I've got a fun Fallout related series actually, hopefully debuting quite soon, in which we're just going to subject one of my friends to, I guess, the horrors of a modded wasteland who knows nothing about Fallout, and just see how long she can make it. So, in any case, you can find me on Twitter at Gandizi, and everyone else, if you want to just kind of shout out and like anyone have any plugs? Johnny, do you want to plug that you're going to medical school?
I am going to medical school. I am also trying to become a voice actor since I don't have time to regular act in medical school.
Oh yeah.
So-
Johnny used to do drama stuff and like for real though. So yeah.
Well, for real. But,
Yeah.
so if you want, I'm on the Casting Call Club website if you want to look me up on there. It should be under just the name Derryberry. I don't think there's another one on there.
Yeah, I'm sorry we waited so late into the podcast to reveal that Johnny's real human last name is Derryberry.
I used to have a friend whose surname was Dangerfield, which I thought was the coolest thing ever.
Oh.
Dangerfield?
Like Rodney?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I get no respect. No respect at all.
Yeah.
I tell you another surname. There used to be the person who was in charge of like vehicle stuff in the government a long time ago. His surname was Ladyman.
Huh.
Oh man, I'm sure he was never teased.
No, he probably did just fine.
Me and him, we were part of the never made fun of gang.
I think it was Stephen Ladyman was his name or something.
But my town had an MP called Dinglefoot or something like that. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. He was called Dinglefoot.
The number of times I have been called Dingleberry in my life. It's too many.
It's high. It's very high.
I'm just saying, I don't know you guys, but it's probably higher than the rest of you.
Okay, Luke, you want to make any shout-outs here?
Yeah, I have an OnlyFans.
Okay, what's your username on there? Dingleberry? Should we just look for that?
Yeah, Dingleberry.
Okay, very good. And Ree, you got anything you want to throw out?
Yeah, if you want to see me cry about the lack of New Vegas 2, follow me on Twitter at @ReeBevan. Otherwise, read my stuff and everyone's stuff on GameLuster, because we're all pretty good at what we do sometimes.
I'd say don't.
GameLuster.com. We're pretty good. What did you say about what did you say she's wrong about?
So Ree's wrong about Mario Kart.
No, what did you say about Mario Kart?
Oh god, this is like, because I have the correct opinion, that Mario Kart Wii is the best.
No.
Wow, if you would like to go ahead and just like
Mario
leave the
Kart Wii
podcast,
is
that would
pretty
be, I guess that'd be fine. Mario Kart Wii is the
You know what?
definition of pretty good.
You know what?
Wow.
I'm gonna back you up. That's my favorite Mario
Yes!
Kart. So.
Finally!
Yeah, I have.
Someone
Look,
would
we all have
though.
great memories of like like being drunk and like trying to drive with the Guitar Hero controller and the Wii remote. But like, it's okay. I'm sorry. Like I would probably just in how good they are. Like I would rank like Double Dash and then Mario Kart 8 and then Wii. Pretty easily.
I'm glad there's at least one intellectual in
wrong.
this podcast.
Double Dash.
The Wii had such shitty courses
I have
though.
only played 2 versions of Mario Kart. I
Okay.
played on the DS
Alright,
and then
alright.
the Wii.
Yeah, if your only
Well,
comparison was the DS one, yeah, of course it's your favorite.
Alright, never mind, my argument's not looking so good
Yeah,
now.
it's not looking so good. All right,
Sorry,
so
I'm a PlayStation boy.
Luke, since you won the Hall of Fameluster contest, you get to take us out on your signature catchphrase. So go ahead and close us out.
Double Dash is the best. You're all wrong.
Incredible.
Fired.
Ring a ding, baby.